Hello, welcome to Fresh Earth Comics. I'm your host, B. Luke,
And I'm Amy.
and this is not the rundown. This is Fresh Earth Comics, the podcast. We talk about comics, pop culture, things we see on television that's nerdy that we like, and we mash it all together, give you our thoughts and what we think about it, and
Yeah.
that's about it.
Whatever tickles our fancy, if you will. Whatever catches our interest.
We wanted to record a little while ago, but why
Yes.
does every time I go to record, like the universe almost is like, no, I don't want you to, because I fell down the stairs.
Literally, we were coming down to record a show.
If you watch one of the rundown episodes, you'll see my nose is extra red. And that's when I literally
And
it's
puffy.
just falling down this, and it's gotten a little better, but it was all scabbed over.
Yeah.
It was hurting, and I was like, I can make it through. I can make it through.
Honestly, I'm kind of impressed that it wasn't worse than what it was.
And it's exactly what happened when I
Yeah.
went around the cross country with Hans.
Yeah.
When I broke my foot.
Like I heard you fall and then I saw you and I was like, "Oh shit." Like I was expecting there to be like a lot of blood. Like
But you both reacted the same. You said, "Yo, do we need to go to a hospital?" And I said, "No." And they said, "Are you sure?"
yes.
You both said the same thing when I got hurt.
Yes.
And then basically the next day, or a passage of time happens, and they're like, "Yo, we're going to the hospital. Let's go."
Like you don't yeah,
Like,
you didn't get
don't
a choice.
you don't have a decision. We let you decide long enough of you whimpering and hopping
Yes.
around. We've made a decision. You're
or
going to
or
the hospital.
having follow-up accidents that may have made things worse.
And I had these TikToks planned. I was gonna like, you know what? I'm here stupidly. They're gonna be like, hey, sprained it. Just be careful. Elevate it. You're good. That's what I was expecting. I had these TikToks like, is it broke or not? And then she comes in, she goes, it's broke. Here it is. She doesn't have to zoom it in or anything. She goes,
She's like, "Yep, there it is," and I'm like, "Oh, that's clearly a broken foot."
I have a high pain tolerance, I guess.
I get you do and you don't though, because you're a baby about getting your blood drawn or getting
I
shots.
don't like shots. I do
Oh,
not.
to the point where it's. I know you've just like blacked out when I took you to go get your COVID shot. You were like, you told me later when we were, because it was a huge line. You told me after we waited in line and after it happened that A, you forgot things up to a certain point, and then afterwards, and then B, that while you were waiting in line. You were making escape plans throughout the entire CVS, which is where we were to get this done. And then you blacked out and you were like, wait, did I escape? And then you were like, wait, why does my arm kind of hurt? And I'm like, no reason.
It was
And then I told
against,
you got your
it was
COVID
against
vaccine.
my will. I got.
Oh, you better bet he
just-
got that J&J vaccine.
I'm just terrified of needles. I do not like them. I don't want to be around them. I would rather
Well,
die
that's what
than be around needles.
This is what drives me nuts. You think that like other people love it, just
Yes,
rolling around.
People have thousands of tattoos on them.
Listen,
They've
you've
got all
also
these
seen
designs.
Saw too many times. I know, just crawling through syringes. No, I screamed as much as you did during that part. Like
I just
normal people don't enjoy
I
having syringes in
feel
them
like
besides
they
drug
do.
addicts.
I feel like a lot of people do. People get a lot of tattoos, and tattoos and needles are the same thing.
It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing.
It's a needle entering my body.
It is a needle entering your body.
Because that's my problem.
However,
it's not.
one is medically necessary. The other is for
Yes.
decorative purposes.
I know.
Body
I
modification
know when
by choice.
I know in the hospital that they're sticking a needle in to give me good drugs to make me not be crazy, like not be yelly, like to calm me down.
To sedate you, you mean?
So like I'm like I know I'm getting good drugs, but even then I do not want it in me. Give me a pill. Give me.
No.
I just don't want to need. I don't like needles.
I know. You've made it very clear.
Do not
If you
like
are
them.
ever found with a syringe in your arm of any sort, if it looks like he's shot up heroin or whatever, that it was clearly a staged It was a murder. He
was-
never would have done this. He's not a junkie. He would never shoot up drugs ever.
That's true. The police planted the evidence, or some person planted evidence of that.
Yes.
That's truth. Truth to power.
Truth to power. Speaking of truth to power,
So it was the holiday yesterday.
a couple days ago.
It was
Numbers.
It was yesterday to me because it lasted a while.
It was like a 2-day.
You gave me a whole bar because it was on sale, and you're like, just eat the bar. I just
Well, that and you had a broken foot, so
yeah. I mean, I get double.
yeah, exactly.
So
I literally said, "Don't talk to me until you've eaten this whole thing."
I ate it. It was amazing. It was just, and then we tried to watch. I wanted to watch a bad good movie.
This
like,
was just a
like,
bad
the,
movie.
Like the Llama Apocalypse movie we watched.
Llamageddon?
Yeah, Llamageddon.
We should have just watched Llamageddon.
Yeah, that is an amazing movie.
It is amazingly bad. It is a work of art that belongs in a museum. It is the perfect blend of bad good. It is literally so bad it's good. And I mean this more than The Room. Like, seriously.
It's just, it's beautiful in such a way it's bad. But we watched Evil Bong, and I wanted that to be
It was,
that. But this was
bro,
just
it
bad
was
to be
not it.
bad.
And even Tommy Chong was in it, of Cheech and Chong. Why I'm saying this is to remind B. Luke over here, and also for listeners, if you're aware of who Cheech and Chong are. Comedy duo from the 70s, kind of revolutionized stoner comedy. And he literally was the best part.
There's a point where you just give up in a movie, and I'm just like, who wrote this movie? It was some person who smoked once
Yes.
with some friends and was like, whoa, I had a crazy time. Man, I can't imagine if I did this every day. You guys smoke every day? I'm going to write a movie about that. And you're like, no, it's nothing what this is like.
No.
And I
that was-
I don't understand how this evil bong works, because honestly, if it's a matter of lung capacity, like, I think I could blow up the bong based on my own smoking ability and blow it up.
That's how Tommy Chong won in the end.
Maybe that's. Oh, is that how?
Yeah, well, he literally blew up the bong.
Oh, that's right. But he didn't work because it came back in the second one.
It did come back in the second one.
That's why.
Because everybody, guess what? It's a series, and you know directly how good a series is because of how many like movies there fucking are. Because I feel like the more there are, the worse they are. Like the more like unbearable each movie is.
But some of them I've really enjoyed, like Wrong Turn. It's really good the first couple of ones.
This is also
and
true.
then it gets real bad to a point where you're watching it just kind of laughing, like almost rooting for you're on the side of the hillbilly cannibal family. You're like, they're in the bathroom. Go back. Go back. You missed them. You're like, you're root because you're just fed up at this point. You're just like, where is this story going? We need this to end. The only way it ends is if they kill everybody and then they go back to normal. Like you just have to accept that is the nature of these movies.
Yep, it's fate. You can't change it.
So I was hoping for something like that with Evil Bong, and it wasn't.
No.
Especially when it gets to the second one, and it's even
more unbearable.
Oh, I don't even understand the plot.
For some reason, they're like in a jungle. I don't know. There's a jungle somewhere. To be honest, I know I took a little weed nap during it, which I think may be the whole reason why this movie works.
It was just horrific. So, but then we got our stuff together.
Yes.
We ate, and we said, all right, time to watch the Power Ranger special.
Yes, because
I have been so excited for this special. I know everybody. Well, most of everybody personally.
Meaning they've met at cons.
Like I've met at cons. I have met the Rangers. They remember me. I'm very memorable. If you meet me. Like they're like, oh, I remember this guy.
You're like the embodiment of a wild and crazy guy.
So I was super excited to see them on the screen, and we,
Well,
we
you've been.
watched it. And I didn't watch any of the trailers. Like everyone
Well,
bombarded
I
me
want
about
you to.
how I should watch the
Yes.
trailers
I want you
because
to explain this rule of yours.
I think when you watch the trailer, it gives away what the movie is. If you're watching a movie, why should you know what the plot of the movie is? The movie should explain itself. You shouldn't have a trailer explain it. A teaser trailer about people who are in the movie, sure. I can get behind that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
the Guardians, when you saw Star Lord and Groot, and you're like, who are these guys? I can get behind something like that where they show nothing of the plot. It's just bare bones. Like, here's these people. I don't need a whole plot line of like, the Guardians are in trouble. What are they going to do? They're going to go to a jail, and then they're going to go to another jail, and then they're going to go to a moon and hang out for a while until they get news from their other friend that it's
Yeah.
safe. Like, that's what the whole trailer is.
Yeah.
And then the end is the friend, like, and you watch the movie, and then you get to that point, and you're like, oh, the friend betrays them, and now they're on the run again.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the spoiler of the movie. And then once you know that, what's the point of watching?
I agree, and I will say, sometimes I think your rules to life are a little insane. Point A, the bread rule. Your little bread rule about bread is
I thought everyone
cuckoo
had
bananas.
this bread rule. See, I don't know a lot of people. I didn't go to a lot of people's houses because people eat stews and soups, and I don't like stews and soups.
So you thought, A.
And
But
so I didn't want to go to someone's house and eat stew or soup or wash their hands.
however, I do want to say that your trailer rule has increased a movie going experience for me. And I'm going to reference this if you haven't seen some of them. I don't even remember what movie it was. Please yell it out because I'm blanking.
Oh, like Black Panther, any of the Marvel movies.
Yes,
So,
specifically a Marvel movie. And it was when they brought in Peggy,
it was Doctor
the Fantastic
Strange.
Four. Doctor Strange.
and
Okay,
the
yes, it was.
Multiverse of Madness.
Yes, where they brought in the Fantastic Four, where they brought in Charles Xavier. And you and I were in the back. We were whooping and hollering, having a grand fucking time. The rest of the theater is just quiet.
Yeah, no one's excited. I'm like, dude, did nobody watch the cartoon show?
Yeah.
He's in the chair that he was in the X-Men show. How cool is that?
Yeah, like,
why is no one excited?
even if that's like the closest we ever get, I still appreciated that moment on screen.
And Amy, you didn't realize this until we started really living together, is how big of a Fantastic Four fan I am.
Yes.
I've got so many copies and things that are them, and to see Ree Richards on the screen as Jim Halpert.
Yeah, for real.
John Krasinski.
John Krasinski.
But there he was. That was everything I've ever wanted in life.
I agree.
And the fact that he may not be Mr. Fantastic infuriates me. I'm like, no, this is not okay.
This is just to say that your trailer rule has in the past worked, so I'm not questioning it anymore. And I'm actually really glad that we went into the Power Ranger special this way.
Yeah, I saw. I'm in a lot of Facebook Power Ranger groups because I like seeing other people's collections and people saying, "Hey, this thing is on sale on Amazon," or go to Target. Maybe you can get lucky and get it for this price.
Yeah.
Or letting me know that it exists for pre-orders, kind of thing. And it's been really cool. But as soon as the trailer got released, everyone started posting pictures, and I saw the picture of the robot Rita Repulsa, and I just got so like, oh no, this is not what I want. No, I don't want to know what happened. Because there's a lot of lore it could have been, and I didn't want to. Why have it ruined when I know they're going to explain it for me?
Exactly. And why you've always been a purist. Like you want to go into a film without any bias. Honestly,
I want to go with what the people are giving me without somebody saying, oh, for example, Quentin Tarantino. Going into his movies, once I know that he has a foot fetish, now every time I see feet in his movie, I'm like, "Oh, is this something?" And
Yeah,
it,
like
it
it
takes
takes
me
you out of the
away, and I
movie.
wish I never knew that because it doesn't matter in his films.
Hmm.
If I'm watching a movie, is that part of the movie or not? I don't know. So I want to watch the movie with no one telling me what to think of the Power Ranger special. So going into it, and especially because Austin St. John is in a little bit of legal trouble. Whether or not he's guilty or not, that's not up to me. That is up to the courts. He says he's innocent. I'm gonna believe him because why not?
Yeah, you have no reason not to. Not
I mean,
to.
technically, no. He on his Facebook page, he had a thing of like, "Hey, do not call me Jason. Jason is not my real name. Please do not call me it. My name is Austin." And I was like, "That's disrespectful. Why would anyone call him Jason? Because he plays Jason on the show."
Hmm.
So I was like, Was it your like real birth name or?" That you just go by this because I saw I show him the Facebook post. He goes, "Oh, I don't know why it's on there. No, I've never gone by Austin or I've never gone by Jason. That was just a name for the show. I've never ever been called that." And now we find out that has been his real name.
Oh,
And so personally, for me, I'm like, "Ooh,
yeah,
this is not cool. You lied to me.
yeah,
Like you don't want me to know your name's Jason. That's one thing." But like it's public records, like things exist, the internet exists.
hmm,
And so part of me is like, if he's lying about that, maybe he's lying about hiding the money because he's not very good at lying about his real name.
right,
So there's that whole thing. So that's why I don't want to. I feel like I'm too close to it, so
right.
I can't be an impartial, partial judge. Because to me,
You're
he can
too.
give me every explanation. I can be like, no, I get that you were trying to protect your house, or people might go after your family, or
Yeah.
he could give me any reason.
Yes.
So I'm impartial, but because of the legal troubles,
You're partial.
He
You
can't
mean?
be in the special.
Yes.
We had the news of Jason David Frank passing, and
Yes.
they were like, "How is this going to impact
The special.
the special? Because is he in it? No one knew
Right.
because
No,
there was
they
no
never
trailer.
even commented
It was
on it at
before the
all.
trailer. There was no comment, no nothing. And then we saw the trailer, and to my I've seen the trailer now because I wanted to watch it again, and I see that the Green Ranger was in the trailer,
Hmm.
but we never see if his face is revealed or not.
Correct.
And so there's things about no, he wasn't, but then there's other people like, oh no, it was a different thing. He is in it. It's this he did. It's hard to know what's true or not true nowadays. That's
Yeah.
why I like to watch the thing for what it is.
Right.
So we get there and we watch it and we find out that he's not going to be in it.
Yeah.
So everything about that was false. He's not in it. Neither was Kim. Amy Jo
Yes.
Johnson was not in it either. And I really hoped that she was gonna be maybe in it somehow.
I'm absolutely not surprised. She's still working and everything. Like I would have hoped that she would have, but I think she's still invested in really making sure that she's progressing in her career, going on to produce and direct and things like that.
So, as a Power Ranger fan, as I am, having a whole room filled with Power Ranger things, comics, toys, Zords, action figures,
Morphers,
morphers. I got everything you can imagine.
Funko Pops.
I also
There's a
have to
picture of
watch
Steve
Power
Gardenius
Rangers. Like
in there too.
there's part of me that I have to watch Power Rangers. So I've made Amy be. I want to say I forced you to watch these episodes, but now I
Nah.
feel like you've
No, are you
joined
kidding
me on this. You're like, oh, I like
Did
this.
you not
now."
hear me whooping and hollering on the couch next to you?
I
during
have
parts?
until we get to certain parts. Like right now, we're in Lost Galaxy, and you're like, ooh.
Absolutely silent. Sorry, I really got into In Space.
Yes, and we'll talk about the second half of Lost in Galaxy after this because Amy's gonna want to talk about that now that the whole world knows that she's now dissing on Lost Galaxy.
Yes.
So that'll be part 2. It'll be
Yes.
the Lost episode.
Deal.
Because I mean, there's a lot of things about Lost Galaxy that's bad, but we'll save it for next time.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the Power Ranger special.
Yes.
As a fan who's gotten into it recently, how did you enjoy it? How did you like it?
First of all, I thought it was great. I really enjoyed the send off that they gave Trini for and the special. That's something we didn't really know what other seasons of Power Rangers might this affect This was really focused just on Mighty Morphin.
Because they've done some really messed up things without maybe meaning to do it.
Yes.
Like there was a free comic book day maybe around 10 years ago that came out when they were trying to reboot it before Boom had bought it. They tried rebooting it and they had this story and Trini was driving the car and she
Yeah.
gets into a car accident.
Yes, which is how
And I'm like,
she died
whoa!
in real life.
And it really upset me that they would be that insensitive. But at the same time, I'm like, it's a Power Ranger story. Like, who are we gonna put in that position? Like, you just throw Billy in there, and then, oh, why Billy crashed? He was really good at driving. You know,
Yeah.
you could say it for anybody. But
Right.
just knowing the history of it, I think maybe just avoid those kind of situations.
Yeah. I think the way that they did it for the show was it was sad.
But really good.
It was really good. It was also really sad.
Very
Just this, I mean, you commented that this was like the first Ranger death on screen, right?
sure that you know of, yes.
That I know of.
That you know of, yes. That
Okay.
your journey of, yes.
Okay. But like still, like it felt heavier. It felt like it was Mighty Morphin, but like a slight injection of adult real world consequences. Because, this was a very Billy and Zach heavy story, which I also wonder if that is why maybe Jason David Frank didn't participate in it. I think that Billy was one of the best characters on there, to come from the show. I also loved Zach. I think that, they should have used him more than just the first season. So it was really great to see how rich and how much these characters grew because they grew up with us. And that was really cool to see. I mean, Zach became a congressman. That's amazing. Like a Power Ranger became a congressman. Power Rangers really can't just do anything.
See, and that's where I think the special falls a little
Yeah.
bit because it was only exclusive on Billy and Zach. When you watch a Power Rangers episode, you see when it's done right, those episodes that everybody loves and everybody goes back to, there's a highlight on everybody's life and everyone doing things in
Yeah, and
their
that's
life. And we didn't get that. We only got the Rangers at those pinnacle moments. Like, oh, hey, we're here for this moment that's intense. Like, once the action started.
yes.
It was a thing that was lacking. And I think
I agree with you. Not every reunion season is done well. I've experienced this myself.
passed to maybe one of his kids
Yeah, that would be
taking
great.
over. That would be cool.
He's just one of the nicest people I've ever met. He was just really chill and was just excited that we were excited.
Yeah, he says he remembers me from Chicago, and I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, part of me is like, I hope you're not lying, but also, yes, maybe not. This is awesome. So just gave me the hope of like, he remembers me. It's awesome.
Right.
So anyway, so maybe having him stepping in like an Uncle Jesse situation, like
Yeah.
a Full House, like he's helping out.
Well, I mean, or just like how what happened with Zach and Min. Because Zach stepped in and became Uncle Zach.
Yeah, exactly.
her.
So that's what I was thinking. And do with the different Rangers.
Kind of like a Power Ranger mentor program.
Yeah. And maybe that's how we form this whole Ranger team. And not to get dark, but maybe, the passing of the torch to a different Ranger.
Generations.
And maybe
of
they don't have to
Rangers.
die. Maybe they're just like,
Retiring.
it hurts too much. Like, I can't throw my punches as much. And I recognize that I can't protect the world like I need to.
Right.
And so passing on the torch in this whole Power Ranger lore that they've created.
Yes. Now I do want to ask. So you were a fan of Min. Do you think? How did you like
she
seeing
was
her
dope.
Trini's daughter?
It was cool. I don't understand how when I think about it hard, I don't understand how the morphing works. Because, like, you could tell it was the Hasbro merchandise.
Yes.
Because I've looked at my action figures long enough to know what they look like. And when I see it on screen and go, wait, I have that. I know what that looks like. That's in my shelf. That sits right there.
Yeah, I
And I'm like,
know.
Amy, come take a look, right? And she's like, yeah, here it is. Can we watch the show now?
Yes.
And so
This is 1,000%
So
a
watching the
thing that happened.
morpher, for example, I'm like, oh, I have that one, and pretending to morph like she does and not working, kind of gave me like this hope of like, oh, maybe if I keep trying,
Maybe one day you'll
I
do
can
it
one day be a
right.
ranger. Like it works like the Green Lantern power now.
Yeah.
So I'm just, maybe at one point it's just pew, pew, and you buy these morphers and they're actually like my parents believe have some like magical powers to them
Yeah.
and will give me the powers of the Red Ranger
Yes.
to defeat the demons that attacked Earth. And
Overall,
Okay.
what would you like to see? What didn't you like about the special?
It felt weird. It felt rushed. I understand they wanted to get out at a certain time, but the dialogue. I love everybody. Like I know these guys. Like I feel like I know these guys. Like I've met them. I've given all of them my money.
Yes.
And I don't know how acting is in real life because I'm not an actor. But it just felt clunky to me at times. Like they were just waiting for their parts. Like they were in some kind of like weird Disney play we were watching on screen. Like everyone was waiting for their points. Like, I think you can do it. And it just
Yeah, there were definitely
felt
scenes that
like
felt
there was
very flat and disjointed.
and I don't know why it felt like that. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. It was it just me? Did you feel like that?
Oh no, there were definitely a couple scenes that I felt that way.
And I just don't know why it was rushed like that. Because I'm like, no, these guys are way better than that. Like, who edited this? Like, who put this together? Like, something happened. Like, I don't know if maybe there was COVID. We have a kitty cat joining us, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that's also something. We got a cat. His name is Robin. Yes,
Named after Robin from the DC comics.
we don't say the B word because it makes Robin sad. That was his brother's name. You may not have been able to hear that because B. Luke got distracted by a kitty.
I did get distracted by
This happens quite frequently now. But this is the first instance of him coming down here into the basement at all. Besides when he hid. Robbie's hobbies also include crying for no reason and yelling at us to go to bed.
All right. So overall, what I'd like to see. That was the question. That's where we're at.
He changed his mind, folks.
What? Hi. All right. I have a cat. in my
Grab the other
arms.
leg. Yeah, there you go.
Here we go. We're singing with a kitty. Kitty in my arms go wee wee. I like the kitty and the kitty likes me. We all hang out and chug some trees. We like weed and the kitty. And we don't hang out with weeds and kitties at the same time because that's bad. Unless the cat's got some catnip. Oh, yeah. Also,
His tail's hitting the mic stand.
he's got things to say.
He does. Tell us all about it, Robbie.
Tell everybody what you wanted to say. All right, so we are back. Sorry for the cat interlude. Overall, Power Ranger Special, loved it. I think I wanted more from it, but really, what Johnny Young Bosch, I wish I saw more scenes of. But
I agree.
like Karen Ashley, wish I would have seen her more. Like show her as a Yellow Ranger, like what a Yellow Ranger
Yeah.
could do. That would have been cool. There was parts I felt lacking, and you're like, come on.
Yeah.
Like
I
as
agree.
much time as Billy and Zach got.
Yeah, they were really only in, like, Johnny Young Bosch and Aisha were, they really had only like 2 scenes, honestly. So I would have liked to have seen more from them, but
And I know everyone's really busy, but like, I'm sure like everyone could have worked on something.
Yeah.
This seemed weird to me at times, like because Zach has would have a different morpher than
Adam.
Adam could have used. Adam could have used his Zeo
Yep.
morpher,
Yeah.
so that way you had a different morpher.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering if maybe they could do like either, like you said, a part two to Mighty Morphin, or maybe like if it's gonna be more about Steve and Johnny Young Bosch, their characters, then maybe make it like a Zeo reunion special. Maybe we could do an in space one. Just saying.
I know we just finished in space, and you are really, really loving in space.
Yes,
Like
I really loved In Space.
I, and it's one of my favorites. That's why when they have the lightning collections of the in space, I was like, yes, I need this, need this, need
Yes.
this, and you're like, what's in space? I had never even heard
Yeah,
of
I
it.
know, right?
Like
And
it,
now I'm like, oh, it's so good. Like,
and you're looking at it going, oh, that's astronomer with the pink hair or the purple hair.
yeah. I just think Astronema as a villain is just I think her story is so great. I love a redemption. I love a villain to a hero. So I always love those. Like the evil turned good. It's great. And the fact that her and Andros are brother and sister, I loved it.
I loved it. It always made me. I don't know. I imagine if I fought with my brother and sister, like, oh, we're friends again. That'd
Yeah.
be great. So the rundown. We have talked. If you guys have been enjoying it, I hope you have. We have been having a blast. We've been reading a lot of comics, though. I have to say I'm getting to a point where I forgotten how to figure out what good books and bad books were because I was like, oh, every book is good, and now I'm reading it going, oh no, there are some writers who are need to move faster in their plot lines. Like it's
Yes.
just is so slow. Like we don't need this storyline of like how he escapes prison and he's gonna hang out in the bathroom
Yeah.
and he's gonna look up and then he goes, maybe I should kill the guard. Maybe I shouldn't. And that's the whole issue. Like that could have been done in half of that time.
Yeah, I agree.
And I feel like that's a good point of comics is there was an urgency like when you read it read so fast paced.
Yeah.
Like every panel there was like between the panels there was punches happening. Like you could feel like you didn't see the punch, but you knew it was coming, and so there was this fast pacedness.
Yeah.
And I feel like some comics lately have been getting really slow.
Yes. I agree. I mean, there's been many times that we're struggling to kind of summarize what's going on or find a new take on a comic, and we are just like nothing happened this issue.
And I'm like, oh, maybe it's just me. And then I'll read it, and I'm like, oh no, it's not. But maybe you guys like it, so that's why it's hard for me to judge. But I'm just going. I'm reading so much now. I'm like, maybe we need to call out people on their bullshit.
Yeah. Well, I also want to say you and I are pretty impatient people, so that may factor into this also. But you and I agree on this. I've just it's been slow, so I think the phrase "driving plot" should be something in people's minds from now on.
Correct, but yeah, and I just so there's this book called Black Tape,
Yes.
and it's about this rocker. He's the greatest rocker who's ever lived, and he dies, and he has this secret tape that's going to be worth millions, and very few people know it exists. It's kind of a rumor, and the wife doesn't know if it exists or not. She's like,
Hmm.
it might not, might do it. So the first issue is she's looking around the house. She goes to the funeral. Everyone's asking her about like, hey, any recordings? Let me know. Let me know. Like we would love to do a taping with you. And it feels very fast paced. Like you have the funeral, you have her going back to the house investigating, and then you find in the bottom she's found this underground Satan lair.
Yeah. Like.
And then the second issue is her figuring out like here's all the people who might be involved and what they're doing. And now this third issue that came out has her debating whether or not what's real or what's not, and it feels like it goes slow, but at the same time she's rushing to get out of the house. And it ends with the rocker, her husband, at the door going, "Hey, did you miss me?" He's alive the whole time.
Mm.
And it was just a slow burn, and it ends next. It's only
Four issues long.
Yeah, so it's only that many issues. So it told me a story in that many issues, and I'm like, this is perfect.
And you were captivated.
I
by
was
it.
captivated. It was the pacing was perfect because I never felt like, oh, it was going too fast or too slow. It really built up like it should. It was phenomenal. So I don't know how it ends, and I really hope
I know.
that
Well,
it's
you have to
just
wait another month.
I really hope it just doesn't crash, and it's just like, oh hey, and then they're just shooting her, and
That's
or
the end.
That's the end. Like I could
You
have
want to.
finished
You're
it.
you're interested in what else the story and the writer has to
Like
say.
I'm hoping he's like a demon thing, or
Yeah.
there's something deeper to it than he's actually alive.
Yeah.
So I. I'm intrigued to know what happens.
Yeah.
And
What
that's what I love about
direction
that's
you're
what I love
gonna
about
go in.
comics. I don't know what's in store. Like it could be whatever the writer decides it to be. And
Yeah.
there's a part of me that's like, oh, it's good, bad. What determines that? And I feel like the way they've been building up, it's gonna feel like it's complete if it's done right.
Mhm. Yeah.
And that's where I'm getting a lot with stories. I feel I get to a certain point and I'm like, ooh, we didn't go anywhere. We went flat. Like the Flash War
Yeah.
went really flat for me. Every issue was the same issue. Everyone was kind of
Yeah.
like, what we gonna do? Oh man, they're real tough. And I
When it's too repetitive.
yeah, I felt like I was reading the same issue
yeah.
every single time, and it was upsetting. So that's why now they're doing these Flash Kids, and I'm like, all right, finally, something fucking different. It's great. I'm not reading the same fucking book in every single part, because then they had this big special book out with all the same story, basically the same thing I've read in every single book, in every single part. Like, it was fun. It was that gimmick of comics that's fun, like doing a show, like what's gonna happen next? Because I really didn't know, and getting it early, I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm just reading it. But when you really put it together, and I really started thinking about like what was good and what was bad that I read, the Flash War, I go, if you put it all together, it's not good. It was a weekly gimmickly book.
Mhm.
Of like, whoa, this is happening, and whoa, I think it tried to be something it didn't know what to do with. I think itself. I hate to say that
Yeah.
because I love the Flash.
Yeah. You know what book it is. I hate to say it, because I really did like it when it started, but it is becoming a chore for me to like read West of Sundown. Like, I felt like in places it's really been like stretched out in places in certain plot lines, and I know that that's also been some of the criticism that I've heard from others. It's just I know that they turned it into kind of more of a at least a monthly issue, and it just sort of seems like it's not really
No, what is
building up to
what is
anything.
West of Sundown? I know of it because you got it, but it's a vampire book.
It's like
But
vampires and other creatures living in this in this western town, and there's crooked policemen, there's local business owners, bartenders, uh other types of that. And at one point it was building to something. It doesn't really. I know that they've been alluding to that they're taking down the corrupt, like the mayor and some other government officials there, using certain people against each other.
so West of Sundown is just a vampire book about them living in the town.
Yeah, I mean that's
It
kind of what it's
just
turned into.
I it sounds very similar to Downey Cates' Redneck, where they were peaceful vampires living in the town. They ate cows and stuff to keep alive, but they never went on humans, and they kept this going for you know many years.
Yeah.
But I just that doesn't sound very interesting to me the way you just described it.
Yeah.
I almost just like this is boring. So I'm sorry,
Yeah,
but
I
it's
mean
just
especially like, in one of like I think this was 2 issues ago where one of the bartenderesses is kind of locked in with another character, and it turns out that she's the embodiment of La Llorona, which I was like, oh, this is interesting, but then it felt like it hasn't really progressed anymore with that character. It kind of just seemed like, you know, monsters of the week, basically.
what's a book you've been enjoying or has been memorable for you?
One that has come out more recently, I definitely really loved British Bump Off. If I didn't make that abundantly clear, how delightful that book was. Just very cheeky, very British, and I sincerely mean it. If you enjoy the British Bake Off, you will really like this comic. But I also feel like I cannot praise the Dead Boy detectives enough, especially with this one. I think
Yeah,
I'm very
talk
excited
about
because I
this,
think
because actually, one of my friends, Snoopy, who listens to the show, he was listening to the rundown and he goes, "Yo, why did Amy only give a blurb about this about the Dead Boy detectives? That sound really interesting. I want to know more about that." And I was like, "That's just a blurb we do for the show. We can't really talk into it." And I think this is what he's looking for: is the in depth to what this book is about. So I think you're in a perfect time to kind of explain it.
oh yeah,
So where
the
are
the
we? I
premise
don't know
we
anything
are
about
in.
what's going on. So
Sure.
explain it to me.
So this chapter of Dead Boy Detectives is taking place in the United States. I
Like
believe.
current age?
Yes, current age.
Okay.
Current age United States. That being said, the two dead boys of the Dead Boys detectives, Charles and Edwin, are kind of Victorian ghosts. So they've been dead for like 100 years, and they are current ghosts in America trying to solve crimes for.
So they're like Sherlock Holmeses?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
So they're running around. They got called to do this task because there had been ghosts showing up in the United States that shouldn't have, basically. And these ghosts, come to find out, are of Thailand lore from Thailand. And it's really interesting because each issue has kind of been focusing on a different kind of ghost in the lore, which it's really cool to find out another culture through a comic like this. It's just really cool to explore different cultures through comics and hear folklore and great stories that otherwise I might not have known. I love to listen to ghost stories and spooky things, and I love hearing about folklore and stories like that otherwise wouldn't have heard if you had delved into a different culture.
No, I get it. I've been doing that with a lot of books. No, I get that. I've been trying to get more diverse in my books as well. It is seeing the world differently, like in Static Shock. Some of the issues that come up in those books, you're like, damn, they are painting it pretty clear
Yes.
and no one's doing anything. So I know in years to come, like you're gonna look back in these books and you'll be this monument of like, oh, this is what's happening at this time, and I think
Yeah.
that's really cool to recognize in books like these different cultural representations of what's been happening.
And I feel like they've been like it's been increasing, which is great because I just feel I get like I just think it's interesting to learn about this stuff and other perspectives, and just I get bored of just the same old white middle class family that kind of has it rough, but still has 2.5 kids. Like it gets boring to me after a while. And I know that maybe not for everybody, but that's how I feel.
All I'm thinking about is Spider-Man right now because it's exactly what happened. So, Spider-Man, it's now been rumored that whatever happens in this next issue, that he needs to stay away from cons for a while because people are going to be outlandish at him. But what happened in the comics so far that I've read
Hmm.
is that Spider-Man was gone for so long. Like when he went back in time, like when Mary Jane sent him back to go find a cure,
Yes.
when Peter jumped back and was like, he's like, I gotta find a way. I gotta rush and save MJ. I gotta, he's just like he breaks into the Fantastic Four, and you're reading all this, and you're like, oh man, he's doing this, and like this is the reason everything's been happening, and you're like, honestly, he's been rushing, and then he jumps in time, like. He uses the device, jumps in time, goes, MJ, I'm here to save you. And she sees this dude, and all of a sudden these kids who are like 10 years old, like Peter's been gone for like
For 10 years.
plus,
Yeah.
like
And
how
really
how
missed
long
out
did
on
she
so
wait?
much. Yeah.
And then it becomes a question of like, man, that's kind of like that's fucked up.
Yeah.
Like this family, I don't know how to feel about it because I personally, if you were trapped in another world, you don't know if I'm ever coming back. I say I'm coming back. I promise you I'm coming back. And it's been
10
this,
years.
yeah. Are you like, well,
Yeah, I don't know. I can't really guarantee what I'd do in that situation. Cuz like I really love you, but
but this guy you're hanging out with nonstop every day, you're just around him. Maybe he's goofy too. We have no clue who this man is. All we know is that now we know what happened. And apparently it gets even worse after this. So all you said when like so like different cultures and stuff, and I'm like, this is what we've come to in a Spider-Man book, where we've pit two couples in a time future scenario. Like that's kind of boring,
yeah.
and it doesn't. Where does that help anybody? It just makes everybody sad. I don't like it.
He doesn't like it.
I don't like it. I just think that why are we messing with love? It's true love, and why mess? Zeb Wells is like on why I met the man. I told like why
I don't know.
felt like we had a connection. Now he's just betrayed me.
You take it personally.
I don't know. I really don't like that Peter and MJ are breaking up, and that she's formed this whole other family. Like how? And my question is, how long? Like, and how long do you wait for somebody? Like that's the scenario we're coming into.
I know.
Why you're talking about like real life political issues of like civil rights and people's.
Oh yeah, that's yeah, like one of the issues of Dead Boys was about gun violence in America because that's how one of the girls died is cuz she was shot and killed in an American school. Like
And I think there is this weird cut dilemma that we run into of like this is where we've come to in a Spider-Man book is where this is our dilemma. But in the real world, like real life shootings are happening,
yeah.
and the books are talking about this, basically pointing it out. Spawn, Static, like I mentioned before, like they point out real life situations that are happening.
Yeah. It shines a light on an issue.
Yeah, and we do nothing. But this issue here, we want to make it a newsworthy. We want to tell Zeb Wells how terrible of a piece of shit he is for making this book. Listen, I don't like it, but sure. Let's see where this goes. Let's go in this psychological because whatever. It's a Spider-Man story. Why there's actual dilemmas and people aren't arguing these issues. And that's what bothers me. Like that spawned on unwanted violence. I thought everyone would be like, yo, you can't talk about that in a Spawn book. You can't talk about police brutality.
Yeah.
Like that's not okay.
Yeah.
And nobody talked about it. No one talks about this, but everyone's talking about the Spider-Man issue. The white couple.
Yeah. And
And
that's
so
what everybody's focusing
that's
on.
what I'm kind of like going back to is like I thought the dead boys thing was a lot more interesting. That's a way bigger thing when you're telling me that. Like that I was like, wow, that's deep.
Yes.
Why mine isn't, and yet the guy's gonna get death threats for it.
Yeah.
That's insane to me.
I guess I'm just drawn to comics that I feel really have something to say.
Whew, that got real heavy real fast. Did not expect that.
Yeah, but we get deep here.
So that's good.
This is why we need to put shows out more often so we can have all these deep thoughts.
So with that, we'll let your brain take a rest, and especially after all the stuff Amy's been talking about with Power Rangers Lost Galaxy, she's gonna want to record a lot sooner.
That's true.
Trust me, I almost feel like taping certain reactions because she is going to lose her freaking mind.
Okay.
She's gonna be like, Well, just you wait. I don't want to spoil anything. You guys know, you Power Ranger fans know what I'm talking about. So here we go. We will be back very soon with another episode. We'll talk about more books because we're reading a lot of them. So we'll review some of the good ones, some of the bad ones, because I think it's important to point out some fun ones and ones that you're just, it's not that it's not enjoyable. It's just I'm not getting what you're giving to me. What you gave to me is not translating well.
Yeah.
And so, let's talk about it. So if I'd hate to be the creator as he hears this and he's like, hey, you said my book was shit, man. I'm like, no, I just didn't agree with this story.
Yeah. It
Explain
just
to
didn't-
me, this is how I felt about it.
Yeah. Have that conversation.
Because I think that's important to have an actual story of like, here's the story. This is what you gave to me in the story. Did I miss something? It's very easy. I missed something. Man, I missed some other storyline that was going on, and I was just like, I don't understand that. And maybe it just was an editing mistake, or who knows? So that I just don't want to diss on any books,
Yeah.
but I also want to talk about books we're not enjoying. Like when it came to us, we read it because we're reading a lot of books, and there's
Yes.
books we're enjoying, books we're loving,
Yes.
and then books we're really on the fence of like, oh,
Should we even bother? Should
Yeah.
we take this off our poll?
yeah, like we're this close to like West of Sundown. Like you are a patron of this book. You're paying money for it. As a patron, you are not enjoying this book right now, and you want to contact
Yeah.
Drew and be like, no, please take this off.
Yeah. Very close.
With that, we'll end the show for you guys. We will be back very soon. I can promise you that with another episode, unless I get a robot leg because my foot's broke, and now I can become part RoboCop or part robot. I could be a robot ranger. That would be the main wish.
Bye, everybody. Bye.